Hello everyone, my name's Jack Sorrell, and today, let's compare some more beta tracks found in the Mario Kart DS demo to their final versions in the final game, which we all know and love. This video is similar to my previous video, where we looked at some strange beta tracks found in the game's files. Today we'll look at some other tracks, which don't go completely unused, and look more like the final versions, but with some interesting tweaks here and there. If you want to see my first video on this, click the I in the top right corner now. Shouting out our channel supporters, on Patreon we have Alexandy1, Boxfish, Christian, The Gamer SK, Tyler Z, Richard Smith, and Esther Cavill. And for channel members we have North Act and Alex T. So a huge shout out and thank you to them. But now onto the video. Let's start off with Bowser's Castle. On this track you drive around, you guessed it, Bowser's Castle. There's obstacles like thwomps, fire, lava, and 2 spinning track sections. The first difference you'll notice in the beta version is that there's 5 item boxes moving from side to side at the entrance of the castle. In the final version, only 4 can be seen, and these ones sit still in a row, slightly inside the castle. This change is kind of important. You wouldn't want too much carnage caused by items at the very start of the race. Another big change, which you may have noticed already, is that the thwomp moving from left to right on the ground was removed in the final version. Having 3 thwomps at the very start of the track is a bit much if you ask me, especially when the first one moves around like this. It makes sense that they decided to remove this one. Here's a small change I noticed in this area. In the beta, you can see 5 item boxes here on this incline, but in the final version they were removed completely. Approaching this spinning platform, everything seems to be the same. As far as I can tell, the track spins at the same speed in both versions. Behind the fire lasers, or whatever they're supposed to be, you can find a shortcut, which I've also found to be unchanged. At this part of the track, you'll find a second rotating obstacle, but this one has a lot more risk involved. You have to drive across it carefully, and match your steering with the speed of its rotation, which changes from time to time. If you happen to fall off, don't worry. There's a ramp right here, which lets you drive back onto the track. Apart from the CPUs in the beta version, they respawn here, get stuck, clip through the wall, then respawn, and repeat. Anyway, moving on, you'll see that these platforms are marked with X's. These were used as placeholders until the final graphic was made for them. But that does it for Bowser's Castle, definitely an interesting track. Now on to Luigi's Mansion. This track doesn't have many changes, but there is just one I wanted to point out. In the beta, you can see the paintings on the wall shake and stretch out, giving the effect that there's something inside. In the final version however, the paintings stay completely still, and have a lot less life to them. But in the remake of this track for Mario Kart 7, the paintings both shake and stretch out, just like in the beta version of Mario Kart DS. The changes in this track aren't too interesting if you ask me, so let's move on to one that's a bit more bizarre. It may not look like it, but this is a beta of Waluigi's Pinball. There's so many changes that I'd be here all day having to point them all out, so I'll just point out the more interesting ones. The high-speed ramp here is clearly an early version of the tunnel, found in the final version, where the carts fly through. As soon as you exit the high-speed ramp, you'll find a similar section of track, which includes boost pads and another small ramp. The ramp in the beta version acts like a wall for a split second, as you can tell from the sound it makes when you hit it. This also slows down the cart quite a lot as well. This may have been just a bug, but it was changed to a jump in the final version. You should remember these pinball bouncing obstacles found in the final game, and they seem to act the same here. This one clipped Mario through the floor, and like in my previous video, going out of bounds in most beta tracks will cause the game to crash. So I'll have to restart and load this track again through the developer menu. Now we're back, and it's happened again. These beta tracks can be quite unpredictable. In fact, I found that this track just crashes randomly sometimes, but luckily this didn't happen while I was recording. Over here, you'll find a pinball bumper. In the final version, these are only found in the last section of the track, and if you touch them, your cart will get knocked back and be shocked as well. There isn't a whole lot to see until we get to this area. In this area, there's some obstacles and a shortcut. The shortcut was removed entirely from the final game, and most of the obstacles were replaced by pinball bumpers. Another thing I found interesting is that the high-speed tunnel, which we drove through at the start, is visible for pretty much all of the course, if you orient your cart properly. This part is also very similar to the final version of the track. If you were to play this track and not know it was actually Waluigi's pinball, would you notice the similarities and realise it's not a different track? Leave a comment below if you have any thoughts on this track, or on any of the other ones we've seen so far, in my last video on this or in this one. If you want to see more videos like this, looking at unused content and stuff like that in games, also let me know in the comments below. But that's all for today. My name's Jack Sorrell, and I'll see you next Sunday with a brand new video.